Let's directly dive into the features of the TTS Performance Suite 2022. Like you may be used to when following these kinds of webinars in the past, let's have a look at our content lifecycle at first a little bit. As you might know, the TTS Performance Suite covers the whole content lifecycle from the production of content, either with the producer or with the creator, the curation and management of the content you created with our curator, the usage side by side to your actual task of work and in your current working context with the QuickAccess, or in a structured manner within the browser over the web access, and of course the monitoring of the content usage within the TTS Analytics dashboard. And even more important, in my opinion, the TTS Performance Suite, when it comes to digital adoption and the support in terms of the digital transformation, not only covers the technical part of the adoption questions, like giving you training material or guidance and support in the usage of IT tools, but also covers the business side of these questions. So it provides you with the necessary training and of course with the guidance in the moment of need when it comes to how to really utilize the IT tools to get the best out of it. So giving you not just the information on how to use these tools, but also on when to use those tools and why to use those tools. So giving you the coverage on the processes and your business questions as well. And the new features I will present you today are mainly focusing on that part of the story. So they are really about even improving the part of non-IT, of business guidance and business support in your content and in your content production and usage, and are therefore a little bit setting the way for future releases where we are going to even introduce even more features that are accompanying that side of the software. So today we have a very strong focus when it comes to the content production lifecycle on the production and a little bit on the usage side, not so much on the curation, management, and monitoring side today, but all in terms of giving you some more tools and some improved tools, especially for producing your content for an improved business guidance. But let's start with the usage part of the product and therefore with the QuickAccess, and one part of the software that leads towards this point of giving your users advice on how to use certain tools and when to use certain tools, and giving them advice on your processes as well. And this is the displaying of processes directly within the QuickAccess. When you had your process view before and you searched for a process in the QuickAccess, or you found a process in the QuickAccess since it was connected to a technical context or an IT context you were using, as soon as you clicked on the process in the QuickAccess, your browser window opened and the process was displayed within our web access in a whole screen filling window on the in your browser window, and you could navigate through your process and get the information you wanted to get out of the process. It worked quite well, but it has the pitfall that you hadn't had the information on the process side by side anymore, like you have with any information within the QuickAccess. Therefore, we now give you the possibility that processes open directly within the QuickAccess as soon as you click on the process result in the search result list, and you don't have the need and the an opening browser window at all anymore. And you can navigate through these processes and see what you are meant to do within your business process while maintaining your focus on your current working context and not losing track of the task you actually want to do at the moment you were searching for help within the QuickAccess. But let's not just theoretically talk about this point, but rather show how it looks like in the actual software. Since you are coming from very different industries, I focused on a process which is kind of located in the shared services like an HR department, and therefore I prepared a little example for an onboarding process. And in my case now I'm searching manually for this process, but of course you can either search manually for such a process or connect it to an IT context and find the process while you are in an IT tool and have the QuickAccess on sync. Now I have my onboarding process in my result list, and as I said before, in older versions, as soon as I now clicked on this process symbol here, my process would open within a browser window. Now, as soon as I click on this process over here, my process directly opens within the QuickAccess. And if I would have any other software open now side by side, I wouldn't lose track or focus of my current working task anymore. So you have your process information like these vertical process flow here directly within the QuickAccess. You can navigate through the process to get all the information out of it you need to know. So for example, if you are a hiring manager and need to know how to prepare a workplace for a new employee, then you just click on this process here and you see the next process steps you have to do, like order hardware for the new employee, request some accounts for the software he or she needs, and of course assign a desk or some office space where he or she could work. If you are, on the other hand, not a hiring manager, but just an employee, you can just switch to the overhead process again and find maybe your information you need in this little jumpstart process step, maybe about the meeting culture within your company. Maybe you are meant to plan a meeting in the future, then you can get your information here. And here you now see some step lists integrated into a process. The first one is just a decision aid. In these days, you might need some guidance to decide whether to have a meeting online or on site. And if you decided to schedule an online meeting and don't know how, you just get your help here with this little step list that explains how to create a new Microsoft Teams online meeting by using Outlook. Now I've opened a step list from a process step, and as soon as I click back now, I still remain in the process step I was in, so I don't lose context of where I was as soon as I open any content within such a process step or within such an activity within a process, and therefore I don't get back directly to the search result of the QuickAccess, but get back to the process I was opening the content from. If I want, on the other hand, to get back to the search result and not stay in the process anymore, it's just another click and I'm in the back in the search result. Of course, it doesn't matter on which level of the process I step into it. I now decided to step into it on a very high level on the starting node of this onboarding process. But if you, for example, want to directly step into the process for planning a meeting, this one is listed as a search result when you hit the right search terms as well. And of course, you can directly jump into a sub-process like plan a meeting here as well and navigate from starting from there if you need to the processes on the higher levels.
Before we move on, there is a question incoming, which says, will it be possible to have context recognition on this?
Of course. As I already said, you can just give your processes a technical context. So if you decide that maybe the plan a meeting process is hardly connected to MS Outlook or MS Teams, then you can just add the context of Teams or Outlook to this process. And as soon as you are in one of those tools and open the QuickAccess, this process will be shown as one of the results within this technical context.
Thank you so much. No more questions on this. Let's proceed.
Okay, the next feature and the next thing I want to show you is, I think, just the start of a some more features to come later on in the presentation that all have their roots in this feature, and this is about creating and editing documents with the creator directly in the browser. We've just presented you the creator some releases before as a way to create content very easily, very quickly, and with a starting point, starting from the QuickAccess as the tool where you don't maybe find the content you need, and then just make 2 clicks to add the content you are missing. This way to create content with the creator by using the QuickAccess will still be maintained and will still be in place, although this additional feature of creating creator documents now comes to the curator as well. So you have still the possibility to create creator documents by using the QuickAccess, and this is still meant to be to generate user-generated content, to give a very lean and a very reduced view on the necessary properties for the user, so they have an easy start on creating documents. But if you are a more experienced user, a more experienced author, or a key user that already knows the curator, that already knows the TTS Performance Suite, you have now one additional way to create documents with the creator, and this is directly in the browser by using the curator. One improvement in this way is if you just want to create content without any IT recordings, you don't need any download or any installed software at all. So you don't even need a producer, or you don't even would need a QuickAccess as soon as you don't want to record anything. You can just open your browser, click on create a new document, the creator opens, and you can explain everything you want to explain within your step list just directly in the browser and save it to the curator. And that might be a big improvement for those of you who are familiar with the curator and are using, for example, a lot of document types or a lot of different workflows. You can use the full power of the curator in that case as well when creating those creator documents. So when using the QuickAccess, you are fixed to those QuickAccess templates to provide an easy access to creating documents. And there you only have one fixed document type and therefore one fixed workflow. Now, when using the curator to create a creator document, you can switch between document types, you can switch between workflows, you can enter all the metadata you want to enter and use, as I said, the full power of the curator to create the documents. But let's not just talk too much about it, but show you how it looks within the software. I'm now just going into my Chrome browser. You could do everything I do now in the same way by using the producer client and using the curator view within the producer client. But I now want to show you that it really works with just the browser. And no matter if you want to use the Chrome, the Edge, or the Firefox, it works with either browser as well to create and edit documents. So I'm here in my process step you've just seen before within the QuickAccess. It's the process step about planning a meeting. And as we already had a document explaining us how to schedule an online meeting, and we have this little decision aid explaining us when we should meet online or when we should meet on site. Of course, what is missing might be a little explanation on what I need to think of when preparing an on-site meeting. Therefore, I will now create this little document explaining this aspect. How to plan. Oh, I'm already typed in this quite often, so Chrome even suggests me a good title. That's good. So As you can see, I could now add any metadata I want to add here, but for this demonstration, I think nothing additional must be entered in this step. The next step is about adjusting it to the process, and here comes the first new option we have. As you might remember, when using the curator in the browser and creating new documents within the browser, you until now only had two options at this point of the dialog. You could either upload an external file, like maybe a PDF document or a video or an image explaining your case, or you could create a placeholder that you fill later on by using the producer. Now, as you can see, there is a third option to use the creator to directly create new content within the browser. And as soon as I click on Finish Now, a new browser, in that case, Chrome opens it in a new tab. And I have my new document directly prepared, and I can do everything with this document I want to do. So like when I now want to explain how to plan an on-site meeting, I can insert a little picture here. Here are my pictures, and explain what you need, for example, to bring to your meeting, like a flip chart, no typos, some sticky notes, and a projector. And after that is said and done, I'll leave it with that by now, since we will afterwards take this story to add some more content, but that's for the first, just for the first step. You just click on Save Document. There comes a little dialog that just checks that the document was saved, and as soon as I click on OK here, the creator window closes and my new document was created within my process here, how to plan an on-site meeting. I have my little, at the moment, really little step list prepared here, and I can look in the preview window now. And of course, you cannot just only create those documents now directly within the browser, but also edit those documents directly from the browser and within the browser. So as soon as I click on Edit Content here, the window opens again, and I can make some additions, like editing this picture to just highlight what I just put within the bullet list above, like what you need to bring. So let's highlight those sticky notes. Let's highlight our flip chart and projector. Whoops. And last but not least, the little projector over here. And if you now decide that you don't just want to explain what you need to bring to a meeting, but you also want to give some explanations on how to, for example, send an invitation with Outlook to this meeting, you can even do that and add some recorded steps by simply clicking on Open in Desktop app here in the menu. And then this little document is closed in the browser and therefore opened within my QuickAccess Creator desktop app. You see, with any changes I just made, like adding those little red frames here, without the need for me to save it. And now I can decide to, okay, I go into my Outlook and I just want to add some recorded steps on how to schedule a new meeting in Outlook. Oops, place the recorder over here. Of course, I want to add some participants. I want to add a subject, and I think that's it for the start. And afterwards, all these recorded steps are added to my step list. I can make any necessary adjustments, like adjust the cutout and maybe the red frame of those long input fields, that it make more sense for the smaller window. The same here with the subject line. Adjust my cutout. Adjust my red frame, and that's it. And afterwards, I just click on upload. And the creator knows where to upload it to, because it's downloaded it for opening it within the local editor, and the document was successfully uploaded and is afterwards again available within my document view here. And as soon as I now click on my preview window here, you can see all the adjustments I just made, like the red frames within the image, as well as the recorded steps I just added with the desktop app. So if you want to use the creator to create IT recordings, you can still do this, but of course, in that case, you need to have an installed QuickAccess on your local PC to have a locally available recorder component to record all the stuff we need to record in that case. When it comes to creating and editing documents directly within the browser window, another aspect is important and should be mentioned here, that you are now able, by editing documents within creator documents within the curator, you're also able to create variants of creator documents within the curator. And of course, like you're used to from other documents as well, and like you might be used to from our producer documents, the creating of variants can be applied to all so-called variant forming metadata. So in most cases, this will be the language, the configuration if you use more than one configuration, and maybe some custom metadata you defined in your environment as variant forming. And if you create a language variant, then of course, all the auto texts, as soon as it is an IT recording, that are included in your source document will automatically translate it to the target language as soon as you created a language variant. And I will show you a little example of this as well. So we have our little Microsoft Teams online meeting step list right here. And you can see it was recorded within an English Outlook window, which might be understood by several people, but all those click and please enter interaction descriptions are in English as well. And I now want to create this document as a German variant. I just click on create variant. Oh, this was on site, that was the wrong one. This one, create variant. Switch my variant forming metadata of a language to German. I already got a title here. Click on next, and now I can decide whether I want to use the creator with a new document to really start from scratch and maybe record this document completely new with a German Outlook version. Or if I say, well, the screenshots are self-explanatory enough, I just want to translate the texts, and then I copy the content of the source document. In the first step, I open the copied document immediately, and after it opens with a German version of the document, automatic generated interaction description text will be shown and will be available in German. As you can now see here, this is a German text. I don't know if you are capable of understanding German, but maybe you can see that it's not English anymore. And of course, I have to still translate every manually entered text, like for example, this one, but every automatically generated text like click and enter and so on is translated automatically. I can save this now, and afterwards my German variant is available here in the variant view as well. And if I select it to put it into the process as well, it's available within the process here in German and in English as well.
So thank you, Stefan. There is, in the meanwhile, incoming a question dealing with, let's say, the difference of so-called user-generated content and what you could probably call official author content. Is it possible to translate user-generated content into official author content and vice versa? to, for instance, make the official, make the user-generated content to be edited in the curator, for instance, and maintain it like I said, the official author content that we are used to when it is created in the producer. I know this is kind of
I think if I understood the question right, the difference if it is user generated or if it is official content is just within your metadata. So the only difference between those two types of content is how you treat it. So if you maybe have some flag that marks the content as user generated or as official, as long as it comes to creator content, it doesn't matter if it wasn't originally created from a user generated perspective or from let's say a professional perspective. The document type and the source documents are of the same type. So as a key user or as a trained author, I can of course open a user-generated document within the curator and edit it within the creator to add some more information, to maybe put in some nicer images and so on, and save it afterwards, and it will be totally fine. So there is no technical differentiation between user-generated and professional-generated content when it comes to creator documents. The only difference lies in that users usually are starting from the QuickAccess and therefore get a little bit a reduced set of possible metadata to choose from, and you as a professional author have the possibility to start from the curator and to start with the whole set of options and metadata you have.
So thank you so much for clarifying, but once more, a similar question on this: can you edit documents created in the creator and edit it in the producer?
So, no, that's not possible, and that's not planned at all, not in that case, at least when it comes to finished creator documents. That's a different type of document type. What we are currently looking into is if you will be able in the future to maybe create some kind of source document with the creator, which you can afterwards edit either with the step list editor of the creator to a creator document, or turn into a producer document and do whatever you want with it afterwards. So use it as an e-learning or documentation or whatever. But when it comes to a step list created with the creator, it will always remain a step list created with the creator and is meant to be edited with the creator afterwards.
All right, so you cannot convert this step list, which was created in creator, you can't edit it in or convert it to a format that could be edited in producer.
Right.
Okay, so thank you for clarifying this. I guess that should do so far. One more question just coming in. Is there some kind of re-recording function if we insert a recording via the creator?
Not yet. Of course, we are having a look into it. If this is important for you, if this is really a feature which is missing to use the creator effectively, then we will introduce it in one of the future versions, maybe. But at the moment, there is no re-recording functionality. Therefore, if you need to really update your screenshots and update the things that were recorded, also when it comes to a translation process, then it is better to start from scratch, from a creator document. That's why you have those two options when creating a variant, to either copy the source document or to start from scratch with a creator document.
All right, here we go. Two more questions on different topics I have for you. The first one going in a different direction, which says, when viewing the process in QuickAccess, is it possible to filter on roles?
Yes, but not on selectable roles. So you don't have any role selection dialog, but it is automatically filtered on the roles you have. So usually your users will have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 roles, but they have a really reduced set of roles, and therefore the view is already filtered for those roles. It is currently not possible to switch those roles on the fly, but you act within the QuickAccess and only see the processes according to your current roles.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, can you use the creator to create e-learnings? Because you just showed us step lists. Is this even possible?
Not yet. Of course, we are planning and starting at the moment to put more functionality into the creator and to give you the possibility to create more types of content within the creator. But at the moment, the creator is meant and designed for creating step lists, and that's what it can do at the moment.
All right. Thank you so much for clarifying also this. So no more questions for the moment. I guess we can proceed.
Okay, then this is about a little usability improvement we have within the creator. So this was an feedback we got quite a lot from you that this was a little bit hard to handle at some points. And it's about zooming and panning within the image editor. So by now you had, unfortunately, no possibility to really zoom into an image if you want to edit it within the image editor. So if you want to put a marking frame on a very small button within a recorded step, or if you want to blur a certain very small area within the image editor, it was quite tricky since you couldn't zoom in. This is now possible. You can zoom into the images while editing creator documents. Of course, you can pan the zoomed in image to go to another part of the image while you are in a zoomed in state. And I will show you this in a little example as well, that you have a better idea of what's the improvement here. We step into our Teams step list again here. We edit the content. And as soon as the step list is loaded, then we have a little step here where the calendar is selected. Here it is. And as you can see, this button is very, very small. And when you open the image editor here, you see that it gets even smaller when the screenshot gets a little bit bigger around it. And if you want just to adjust this little interaction marking frame here to the bounds of this button, then it got quite hard in the past since you couldn't zoom in. Now you just use your mouse wheel to zoom in. You just use the space key like you are used from other tools, and hold the space key and move the mouse around to pan through the image, and then you can adjust your little frame to quite the right size that you need to. Of course, zoom out again if you need to, and click OK, and everything is rendered in the right way and on the right position and where it should be. That's just some little but impactful, in my opinion, usability improvement when working with images in the creator. And another improvement when working with creator documents is that you are now capable of using QuickAccess links in creator documents. By now, you were only able to use links within creator documents that were either HTTP or HTTPS links. And now we made it possible as well to use the well-known QuickAccess protocol links as well to directly link either step lists to one and another. So if you have one step list that should link to another step list, you can easily do this. Or if you have certain search result within the QuickAccess you want to link to, you can do this as well and link to a certain search result, which directly is then opened from the step list you've currently open within your QuickAccess. I'll show you a little example of this as well. I prepared a little example. So if you have to participate in an on-site meeting and need to travel for this because you have to go to another location of your company, here is a little step list which is giving you some details on the travel policy beforehand. And if you have a look into the train, when to use the plane, or when you are allowed to fly, and when you take a rental car, and so on. And maybe you want afterwards want to know how to account for your travel expenses. And I already prepared the texts here, but I didn't added the links. We will do this now to directly link to any information you needed related to your travel expenses from this document. So let's make this window a little bit smaller, open our QuickAccess, and get the links we need. So we want to talk about travel expenses. So let's see what our QuickAccess shows us for results when it comes to travel expenses. So this looks quite helpful. We have our travel expenses form, a little step list explaining everything about hotel booking platform and so on. So we copy the link to this search result and say, if you're looking for information on how to account for your travel expenses, this might be the right place. So we select this little here. Whoops, sorry, my selection got lost here. Add this link, save, and the link is added. And you can see, oh, there is even a direct guide on how to fill out the travel expenses form. And we copy this link as well. If you want to learn how to fill out the expenses form, we add this link directly to the whole sentence and save, and have this link as well. We save this document successfully, and now we search for this document within the QuickAccess to see how these links work when viewing this content. Here is our travel policy document. And the first one was the link linking to our search result. As soon as I click on the link, I'm back in my search result for travel expenses and can find any useful information I want to use here. And if I want to link to or jump directly to a certain step list, this works as well. So if I'm here and now want to learn how to fill out the expenses form, I click on the second link and directly jump to my step list explaining how to fill out the expenses form.
So thank you, Stefan. In the meantime, we received the following question. How can you tell if a document was created in the producer and the curator? Actually, it's jumping back to the former issue again.
I think,
is there any possibility to spot where it was produced actually?
No, not yet. You just see when deciding to open or to edit the document where it opens, if it opens within the creator or the producer, but there is not yet any kind of flag or something where you can see where the document was created.
Great, thank you. No more questions left.
Another big improvement, and now leaving the creator part of this presentation and going a bit more towards the producer, is the improved recording within our producer. When creating the creator some years ago, we established a new kind of recording platform, recording layer in our software that we already planned to introduce into the producer as well at that point, but it still needed a little bit of work to do. And we are proud to be able to present and announce it now, that the newly renovated and refreshed producer recording base is now available within the producer. It's a little bit hard to present within a webinar the benefits of this recording, but it is really improved in responsiveness during the recording. As soon as you try it out and as soon as you try to record documents yourself and record an IT application yourself with the producer, I'm sure you will agree to me that it really feels faster, more responsive during the recording, and more reactive directly on every mouse click when working with the new recorder of the producer. The second benefit, like it was the case with the creator already as well, is that high DPI recordings are now available in the producer as well. Of course, the target application you want to record needs to be so-called high DPI aware itself. But if you were able to record an application on a high DPI display with the creator in the past, you should be able to record the same application with the producer now as well. And of course, we now have unified UI. So you have the same recorder toolbar when it comes to the look and feel within the producer and the creator. And you recognize the recorder toolbar of the producer now, again, if you knew the new recorder toolbar of the creator recorder. And when it comes to re-recording, and you have waiting times during the re-recording because you maybe need to wait for the target application to perform a certain task, you now get a better feedback about the active waiting state of the re-recorder and don't need to wonder anymore why the re-recorder waits at a certain point. And it now shows you why it waits and how long it still wants to wait before continuing recording. So I will try to give you a little impression of how the producer recorder works right now. As I said, it's a little bit hard to show within the webinar. It's easier to feel by yourself, but I hope that it gets a little bit clearer how this really improved. So let's jump into the producer, create a new document. Since we just recorded Outlook, I think we will continue with recording Outlook and just make a short example of the new recorder capability. We have this little untitled dialog already open. We take this as a recording example. So nothing changed so far. To start a recording, you just click on the Start Recording tab, you change the window, and then the recorder starts. And now you have this recorder toolbar up here. And as you can see, this is the new look and feel, the new UI, which really looks nearly identically to the creator recorder you have seen before. And now I can record some steps. I'm just making some clicks and hope that you can see through the webinar that it is really a little bit more responsive, a little bit faster, that the recorder reacts to my clicks. And you see this little green frame that highlights the object I'm currently clicking on. Going back to meeting just for demonstration reasons. And now we stop our recording. Everything is compiled and brought back to our learning unit. So when it now comes to re-recording, let's make a little bit increase one of the waiting times that I can show you what I mean, that the feedback about those waiting times is a little bit better and a little bit more, more speaking to you when re-recording, that you really know what's happening while you wait. So let's just start a re-recording to see how this looks like. And now you can see the toolbar, of course, gets a little bit bigger. Now currently it's just here, and with some more options, of course, everything you need to have in the re-recording. And now you see the countdown of the waiting time. So you always see why the recorder is doing nothing at the moment and that it is actively waiting for something before it does the next step. And it always shows you what it does and really gives you a better feeling of why it is doing what at the moment. You see the re-recorder toolbar nearly the same. Some more buttons like insert a certain step or overstep a re-recorded step, but yeah, nearly the same button-wise than it was before, but now with the new UI and the UI, you are already aware of when you used the creator recorder before. So I think now it is finished at all, so I don't need to stop it. So the re-recording works as well, and this is how it feels and looks like to work with the new improved recorder. And I just can encourage you to try it out yourself and to really enjoy and see how this recorder is getting a lot more responsive when using it. So the next thing I want to show you is a new smart component, and a new smart component which I personally find quite nice and quite interesting. And it is about checking a quiz status of a certain quiz state, or one or more quiz states, and trigger a behavior within the producer or the produced content depending on the selected test results. This especially allows you to create some kind of pre-test. So if you have a learning object which has several sections about different aspects of a certain topic, you are now able to have some questions beforehand to your users and to your students that give an impression if they maybe are already quite aware of a certain section of the topic and maybe don't even need to go deeper into this topic. And then you can say, okay, this section doesn't need to be worked on anymore because you know everything you need to know. And such pre-test creation is possible with that smart component. You can use either the score, a percentage, or just the true false of an answer as a condition here, and you can use it for one or for multiple quiz pages. Sounds a little bit theoretical now, but I show you a little example that I hope makes it a bit clearer. So let's close on our Outlook recording here and go to this little piece of content about the code of conduct that I prepared beforehand with the new smart component and such a pretest to get the information if my students really need to jump into every aspect of this learning object. So I'll give you a short view of the content within the editor at first to see how it's built up. Then we go into the example into the preview view and see how it would look like for the student or for your employees, and then see how the smart component works in detail. So this is a short learning unit about the code of conduct, and it has several sections about relationship with competitors, handling information, principles of corporate social responsibility, a start, and some final notes, which are not part of the pretest here. But to see if I have to go through all these three sections, I added some test question steps before. The first one is about the first section, so about bribery and corruption. The second and third one covers more the information and data protection questions and is heading towards the second, so the third chapter of the learning unit. And the last one is about social engineering and therefore about the chapter 3 here. So let's see how this looks when you really play back this learning object and start it here within our preview window. So I now get some questions. So I'm answering the first questions wrongly to see that nothing happens then. So let's answer that it is strictly prohibited to attend the business lunch. And this one I will answer wrongly as well. What informations do I need to keep secret? The URL of the client website. I try to put this one right, and try to get the right answer. The personal data of employees may be shared within the company. That's okay. And this one I try to answer right as well. That is about someone trying to call me and social engineering, find out some information by social engineering, and I'll just check with my boss. And afterwards I see, oh, I answered the pre-test for the first section wrong. Therefore, I don't have any check mark that I don't need to go into the section. Same applies to the second section. And fortunately, I answered the pre-test for the third section correctly, and I got this little check mark here, and I don't have to necessarily have to go into this section anymore. Of course, I can decide to look at this section, but I don't need to, since this is already checked by the pretest. How is this built up in detail? There are these little check components I added to the step here within the lower left corner. They are transparent components, so they are not visible within the final learning object, but they are visible within our editor. Here I can define which quiz state this check component applies to, and if it tests on just true false, on a percentage base like here, or on a score base like I can select on the other hand. So here my second one tests on step 3, step 4, and requires me to have 60% correct to pass this condition. And then I can just add some triggers to my little check marks here, like this one, and I can say this check mark should appear when my check status chapter 2 component is on passed, and therefore I passed my little pretest. Of course, I can also decide to have something appearing or disappearing when my quiz check status was not passed. This would be the other option if I want to build something different with this component. And in this way, you can really build something like a pretest and maybe build some other use cases as well where you need to react on quiz results. And this is now possible with that new smart component. Apart from the check status component I just showed you in detail, there are some improvements to other components and new components as well that we won't demo today, since we mostly demoed the same behavior with other components in previous demos already. Nevertheless, they are not less important and should be mentioned to let you know that they are available now. With the last release, we introduced the possibility to have a visited marker on certain steps within your sitemap component. And this applied to the sitemap component you could add to the tutorial control, and which automatically opens from the tutorial control. If you are using the sitemap, so-called sitemap text box component, so the more flexible one, which you can just adjust to your look and feel and use wherever you want it to use outside of the tutorial control, you are now able to use this visited marker as well. And also, we have now the possibility to use different image strips in learning and assessment mode in further smart components. I already showed this behavior 1 or 2 webinars ago when we introduced it for the single choice and multiple choice component, and now we have this available in all quiz related components. So if you want to adjust these image strips to maybe give not a certain feedback on right or wrong within the assessment, you can do this now even with a close component or with a drag and drop component and so on. And last but not least, let's come to all those topics which are not less important, but hard to present in the form of such a webinar, but should be mentioned as well. At first, and quite important in my opinion, is the possibility to have the plugin for HTML context recognition that we introduced for the Chrome browser with the last release, now also available in Microsoft Edge. The way of installation stays the same. You select that the extension should be installed and registered with the QuickAccess during the QuickAccess installation, and with the first start of the Microsoft Edge browser afterwards, the component is automatically loaded from the extension store of Microsoft and applied to the browser to share its information with the QuickAccess. We introduced the first APIs for querying process structure and the content of processes from our web access data. We are working currently on introducing even more APIs with future releases, and therefore this is really a first beta version of the APIs that are upcoming. So if you want to try it out, if you want to use it for your projects, just contact one of our professional services consultants, and they will be happy to assist you. But please be aware that this is still a beta version, so this might be subject to change in the future based on the results we get and the feedback we get from all of you who are trying this out now. A little bit special option for those of you who really need to do this, and for those of you who are required to have such an option available, maybe by their LMS system. You have now the possibility to configure HTML5 content, single, multi-SCO objects only, that they are never sending failed via the SCORM interface, but just incomplete as long as the learning object is not passed. So you don't have a failed in your records, but only incomplete or passed. And the other option you can configure if you want to is that a score is only sent via the SCORM API when the learning object was passed and not before and in any state in between. These, of course, are very expert options and should only be used if you really have a really use case that fits to those options. If you want to make use of those options, please contact your PS consultant as well. The same applies to the last feature. If your IT or your setup on your user PCs require you that the QuickAccess cannot use the standard profile path on those PCs, you have now the option to have a configurable profile path within the QuickAccess. But again, in most of the cases, the default path will be just fine. So if you have a certain need to configure your profile path, again, please contact your PS consultant and he or she will be happy to assist you with this as well. Are there any questions left on the 2022 release of the TTS Performance Suite?
Well, yes, there is a question. I'm just trying to get an overview. So first of all, are there plans to move functionality or all functionality to Curator, including all editor functionality?
I wouldn't
which are only in the producer at the moment. So that is actually what his question is.
I think we won't be possible to move all functionality that is currently in the producer to the curator. So what we certainly will do and are planning in the future is to extend the possibilities you have with the creator to create different kind of content. What kind of content this will be, we're still in discussions and also in discussions with you when we are discussing about our future roadmap and what we are planning to do in the future. But of course, we are trying to improve the possibilities of content creation with the creator and therefore offer you more possibilities to create different kinds of content with the creator in the future as well.
All right, thank you so much. So I guess we have no more questions which we could touch at the moment. However, if you, dear participants, feel like you have some questions coming up after this session, after this webinar, please don't hesitate to get either in contact with your PS consultant, or you can even address either Stefan or me via email, for instance, and we will immediately take care of all your questions and try to solve and answer them very quickly. So from my side, I want to thank everyone for your interest in our new TTS Performance Suite 2022. We are very looking forward to this brand new release and all the features that we could show you today. I hope, yeah, you will be as excited as we are about it, and we'll have also fun using everything that is new that Stefan just presented. So thank you so much. See you next time.
Yeah, nothing to add from my side. Thanks for being with us today, for your interest in our new release, and have a nice evening, and hope to see you soon again here in a webinar. Bye-bye.